Okay. Okay, so I believe that we are now live streaming and ready to go. So yeah, as I was saying, I don't really know if we're expecting anybody else tonight. Karen will not be here. So if anybody's watching us, it may just be me and Gio. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Where's my welcome little thingy? I thought I had that open. No. Because, even though I do the welcome most of the time, I'm still always struggling to remember, now, what is it I want to say?
That's okay.
Because really, Gio, as much as I talk in the group, I'm really not a talker.
Right.
No, writing is my gift. I mean, I can talk. I used to talk better than I do since I got brain damage. But, it's more of an effort. It's always been more of an effort for me than writing. Writing just feels natural.
Okay, well, we sure can't tell that you had any difficulty. So you're doing good, okay?
Good. Well, welcome everyone to the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle, where we are currently reading the love songs of W.E.B. Du Bois by Honorée Fanonne Jeffers. This is session 17 of the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. We started on January 11th, which was Tuesday. And we'll probably be here through the end of August. We switched our days to Wednesdays, so we meet Wednesdays now at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live streaming on YouTube. All of our archives are at YouTube. We also have a Facebook page called the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle, where we post public events. And we have a website called Reading Changes Lives, .wordpress.com, where you can learn more about the group. And so this is meeting 8 on this book. And tonight we are discussing 2 chapters, Song 4, Song 4, and Brother Man Magic. And my name is Michelle Odom. I'm located in Brooklyn, New York, and happy to be here. And my co-host tonight.
Yes, good evening. I'm Georgia Moses. I'm in South Carolina, Columbia, and I'm happy to be here tonight also.
All right. You feel like reading the summary?
Okay.
I will pull it up on the share screen.
Okay.
Get my screens together here. Share screen. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes. There we go.
You want me to make it a little bigger?
No. Tell I'm not that blind. No.
Well, I am.
Okay. All right. Well, you'll have to do the scrolling though.
Okay.
All right. Song 4 begins with beliefs about menstruation. from Africa and in Native American culture. Overseer Carson Franklin, an impotent and incompetent white man, took Beauty slash Aggie to the moon house, though it was forbidden to most negresses. There she developed a relationship with Lady, and their menstrual periods synced. Carson reassigned Beauty, Aggie, from the field to the house, and jealousy on the farm was ignited. The story continues with Samuel Pinchard, who ordered the enslaved men to build a big house he would talk about as if he had personally done the work. Beauty, Aggie, is concerned Samuel may be an alcoholic who will sell off the people who have become family to her to settle his debts on January the 1st. Before the house is done, he has met the men, he has the men erect a kitchen, buys a woman to serve as cook, Tut, and assigns a child, Mamie, to work as her assistant. While Lady, Samuel's wife, is away at the moon house with Aggie, Mamie is terrorized by a monster in the night, but no one believes her story. Beauty, Aggie, found she had much in common with Midas, a man of the fields, whose grandfather had been a griot in Africa. Soon the two would marry. Midas is an understanding husband who listens to Aggie's spoken and unspoken communication and tolerates her sadness and lack of outward affection. One night, Aggie hears the voice of her mother and follows it into the dark. She finds Samuel Pinchard raping the child Mamie and beats this monster with a stick until he flees naked and remains unseen for days. The chapter ends with Song 4 on The Talented Tenth by W.E.B. Du Bois. Brother Man Magic. Brother Man Magic continues the story with Ailey back home. She returns to Chris after David starts dating another girl, Carla Jackson. Chris puts his charms on Belle to smooth the way to openly dating Ailey. Ailey and Chris visit Planned Parenthood, where she has her first pelvic exam, and then the two have less than spectacular sex. Ailey has learned the differences in the quality of foreplay, but remains committed to the awkward Chris while missing David's touch. Ailey makes plans to attend Routledge in Georgia and pledge Beta Alpha Beta like Lydia. She tries to convince Chris to join her there. Gender roles are tightly regulated at Routledge, and it brings up memories for Jeff and Belle. Chris is going to Princeton and breaks up with Ailey after one last sexual encounter. An angry Ailey heads to Georgia with Belle. On arrival at Chickasetta, Ailey is behind the wheel. Buki has settled down with Rhonda, goes to church every Sunday, and is expecting a baby. Ailey is cool when David comes to the family reunion, but sees the relationship he has with Uncle Root is brother man magic. David is now at Morehouse, interning at an Atlanta law firm and sharing an apartment with two other students. All right, drama, suspense, the agony of defeat.
Yeah. All right, so let me read question 1. Beauty Aggie's grandmother said the moon house where women bled was not for the cursed and the weak, but for the strong and the blessed. Helen had a similar story. Do you think most American women experience menstruation as a blessing or a curse? And what cultural beliefs do Americans have around menstruation?
Wow. Well, it certainly was never described as a blessing or anything to do with power, unless it was a powerful smell. No.
That's right.
you know, I have read a lot of different stories about, from different cultures, and one of an important theme that runs throughout is that at a period in the history of the world, the belief systems were based on matriarchy, right? And then worshiping creation, Mother Earth, the woman's body. And then we switched to patriarchy. And then everything that was before was witchcraft, hoodoo, evil,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
bad. Everything that is uh, described through the eyes of uh, Western civilization, as opposed to the African history that's come through. And so, and even the Native Americans, right? They have the moon house, and
Mm-hmm.
which is sort of like cherishing um, the sacredness of the woman and creation without the superstitions that we're laboring under and have been laboring under for so long. Because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's in the Bible, right? King James Version, or and perhaps it's in the Torah. I'm not sure right now, but about women not being separate, right, and less than.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and especially during, that time of the month that it's dirty, it's filthy. That's why you're bleeding. But blood is life.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got this misconception about who we really are and how we work, right, as human beings, and what are the things that we should be embracing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's the body, even if you thought about it in a more logical sense, as mechanisms, functions that happen, because this is how the body as the flesh machine works. You feed it, it burns the fuel, and then it's got to get rid of it some kind of way, right? So if you're creating life, your body gets ready to create life. It's not being used, well, we got to push it out. You don't need it. Why should you still have it in you? But it's just a natural process. And we've gotten so far away from, I guess, what is it, Victorian or Protestants, even Catholics,
Mm-hmm.
right? They have that what burden, right, of everything is the woman's fault. And so anything that has to do with the woman, besides what you need to do for me right now, is a
Mm-hmm.
problem, right? It's part of why
Mm-hmm.
you can't lead, and why you
Mm-hmm.
can't have things, and why we as men with our two nuts are better than you. No, but I didn't mean to sound sexist, but that,
It's all right. Yeah. Yeah, no. Well, I don't know what I can add to that, Gio. I guess the questions came up for me because I had to really kind of think about, what cultural beliefs did I pick up along the way regarding menstruation, and I couldn't really think of. I didn't get messages personally. I mean, all those things that you're talking about, sort of the origin of male domination. Um, I have picked up along the way, but specifically about menstruation, I don't know what I've learned about it. Not that it was a blessing, you know. So I found those stories, perspectives interesting. Not that it was a blessing or that it gave me any kind of special power, but also not the negative. Um, I mean, like the story in the book where the Creek man kills the woman. he realizes that, and then the tribe started losing wars.
That's a good point, right? But was it really because of the blood or because of the belief of the people? Because you can create stuff just because you believe it, right?
Right.
So
Exactly. And, and so, but it's interesting, that your beliefs without, any factual basis, um, can be so strong, that they would have those kind of impacts. The impact of leading you to kill a woman easily, and then the defeats that you start to suffer in battle because you believe you've been, contaminated or cursed.
yeah, yeah. I think I heard something about the practice of voodoo, and it's like, or and black magic, like, if you believe in it, it works. Right? So if
Right.
you believe that juju, somebody put something on your step, oh, you make it happen to you, whether or not, it had any real power or not.
Well, I see in my own life, and which is why I try to be very careful about what I think. Um, if I'm having like a mean thought about somebody, I'll be walking past the table, and next thing you know, I will kick my foot, stomp my foot.
Now, people would say, well, Christians would say, God don't like ugly.
So I just try to think happy thoughts.
Okay, right. And why not? Why not? Because what you're thinking about, you're the one who's creating that energy, and it's doing all kind of things to you, so that now you can't even concentrate on where you put your feet. You caused it.
Right. But beliefs are very, very powerful, and you can see how in these early civilizations, without access to modern technology and modern science and all of that, that they could come to some conclusions, and take them as real. Now, I did like this idea of the women having time alone, in the moon house. Whether it was because of, an erroneous belief or not, I do still think that women need time with each other and time alone with each other, and that there is a power in that helps us grow as individuals. Mm-hmm. So that made sense to me. Yeah, and then go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, I thought that was beautiful, because it was functional on a physical level as well as an emotional and psychological level for the women getting, having this time isolated, which on the outside one might view as a punishment, but they made it good inside. They fixed their meals, they washed their clothes, they talked, they told stories, they sang, they did whatever they wanted to do outside of the prying eyes of, guys
Men.
or whoever. Right.
Right,
So
right,
they probably having a ball in there, and then they come out. Oh yeah, come out the door. Oh yeah, it
right,
was awful. It was
right,
terrible. Oh, I can't. Oh yeah. Oh boy, I got to do this another next month too. Oh boy, no.
right, right.
Because they
You
didn't have to
know,
clean, they didn't have to take care of any children. It was kind of like a
right.
vacation, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, Aggie got to get out of the fields. You know,
Yeah.
it was pretty cool. Then this thing with the syncing of periods. Now, I have been through that in several different configurations of women friends. Once when I worked in an office that I shared with a couple of women, our periods synced. Um, I had an experience with a girlfriend who we hadn't even been in each other's physical presence for a long time, but we talk a lot on the phone. And at some point, our period started syncing. It's a weird thing. Have you ever been
Wow.
through
Now
that?
I've never heard of it happening over the phone. Now that says something
That
about
was a new one too for both of us.
that sounds like some quantum mechanics stuff going on there.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, wow. But oh yeah, yeah, definitely. If you're every day you are in the presence of another woman, it happens. Um, so I'm thinking about basic training. 6 weeks. Ah!
Oh wow.
With a bay full of women. Period. Oh my God, get us out of here. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to say, even though I am in the wonderful stage of menopause, yes, freedom. My little grandniece came to visit me.
Uh-huh.
She had a period. And why? I'm like, get back. Oh my God, I'm supposed to be at menopause. No,
Yeah.
get back.
You-
It was some spotting going on. I'm like, no, Jesus,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
You
And I
can't fight
wonder,
nature. I'm gonna say that.
well,
You
I
can't
was
fight
about
nature.
to say, I wonder what purpose nature has for making that happen.
Well, I know from Mutual of Omaha, Animal Kingdom,
Okay.
back in the day,
Okay.
the pride of lions, all the lionesses are in the same cycle, so that if something happens to one mother, they can feed the baby, the orphan baby. So so
Oh.
maybe that's what's up with humans too.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So
Wow.
other than that, I don't know, maybe, the creators got, a sense of humor and said, hey, look, I'm going to make everybody's life miserable right now.
Right.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah. But you can see how if you're like a whole pride of lions and a whole bunch of the female lions are bleeding at the same time, that you want them to just go on off to the moon house, go do your thing.
yes.
Back when you're done with all of that.
Right. We got some gazelles need killing over here, all right? The rest of us are starving. We need y'all back.
Yeah. So I thought those stories about all of that was pretty interesting.
Mhm.
All right, what else was there in this chapter? I think I tried to highlight a question, from each section. Let's look at number 10. You have the agenda?
I do. I sure do.
Okay. Let's look at number 10. This what section is this? This is
the kitchen
house. Yeah. Mamie encounters a monster in the night, but no one believes her. Within a matter of days, there was a disturbance, screams tearing through the night from the kitchen house. Aggie would not hear these screams, as it was her woman's interval, and Lady and she were in the moon house. Yet upon her return, Pop George reported that Mamie insisted a monster had come into the kitchen house. The monster covered her mouth in the night, trying to steal her breath. However, when Aggie consulted the new cook that Samuel had purchased, the woman named Tut, the woman was unconcerned. She insisted Mamie was only having nightmares. Thus, Aggie forgot the child's stories of monsters, aided by the fact that she had fallen, I guess it's supposed to say fallen in love with a man of the fields. Questions. Why would Tut be motivated to dismiss Mamie's claims of monsters in the night? What thoughts do you have about a man who would rape a child with his wife not far away? And the blindness of a woman who couldn't see what her husband was doing under her nose? And what similarities or differences do you see in Mamie's story and Lydia's?
Yeah, when Tut made that comment, oh, she's having a nightmare, it's nothing, she crazy anyway. No, she probably say that, but that's what they thought, right? She over there talking to herself under the pecan tree.
Right, pretty much that's what she was saying, yeah.
But so Tut came from we don't know where. This is probably a good gig for her, right? She's an older woman, so she knows. I'm gonna just keep my mouth shut, make this cornbread, and girl, ain't nothing happening to you, ain't happening to nobody else for generations here.
Right.
So, and I don't need my foot cut off or whatever they might do.
Right.
Pointing the finger. No, it was Samuel. He's a child molester. Then she and Mamie go on the next, slave trader wagon.
Right, or out there on that plantation.
Right. In the fields.
In the fields.
Right. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
What you gonna do, right?
Right. Yeah. But it just reminded me so much of Lydia and Nana, where Nana didn't seem to know what Gandhi was doing to the girls in the family. And so here we have Lady who, out at the moon house, I guess you wouldn't know what was going on up at the big house. But, we just have read too many stories where the mistress, seems to know nothing. So it just it just seems like it's a parallel story to what happened to Lydia and to Ailey.
Yeah, that's a good parallel. And so sad, right? Because Lady knew. Why, and he didn't even try to hide it, pretend nothing. No, I'm gonna sleep on this pallet here because I'm dreaming of milk breath.
Right.
What a creep. Okay.
What a creep.
Oh my gosh. And what's his face? Carson, the overseer, he wasn't much better. He trying to drag people out to the moon house. Okay.
and can't get it up.
Right? No, like, dude, maybe you're just gay. How about that? No, I didn't say that. No.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, this was a little girl, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. We don't know the story of why Samuel Pinkard is not sleeping with his wife, you know.
Yeah.
But there's some backstory there, you know.
And she's pretty young. She's 14, right?
Amy,
No, lady.
lady,
Yeah, his wife. I thought she was 14 because I think when she went to the moon
she,
house.
oh, now see, that part was written a little bit confusing, but I ended up reading it as when Aggie got to the moon house, it was Lady saying to Aggie, now you're 14, now you're period.
Oh, okay.
So I thought Aggie was 14.
Oh, okay. All right. I have to reread that.
But Lady, she's probably not much older. Well, I don't know.
No, you know what? I looked at the I went back to look at the genealogy, find it. And I wanted to see let me go here. Look at Samuel I can't say his name, Pinchard's line. And so Lady was born in 1802. She had twins in 1826. So that means they didn't have sex until she was.
But remember, Lady is the one, I believe Lady is the one that was a little itty bitty girl. I think her father was her father Miko? Yeah. Miko. Remember, Samuel Pinkard is the one that was friends with Miko. And then one day he said to them, I'm taking your house, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And they ended up giving him their daughter, Lady, and she was a little girl. But there was some agreement or something, I think, that they weren't going to sleep together initially. But I don't think we know at this stage of the story how old Lady is.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, she was definitely a little girl when he married her. So I guess it's just how he likes them.
Well, creepy.
Yes. So, okay, so we got that storyline going. Let's take a quick look at the next section. The courting of Aggie. Oh, I don't have anything highlighted there. All right. Bad dreams in the night. Anything? Nope. Song 4. Okay, let's talk about song 4.
Okay.
Number 13. You want to read it?
Sure. The Negro race, like all races, is going to be saved by its exceptional men. The problem of education, then, among Negroes must first of all deal with the talented tenth. It is the problem of developing the best of this race, that they may guide the mass away from the contamination and death of the worst, in their own and other races. Now, the training of men is a difficult and intricate task. Its technique is a matter of educational experts, but its object is for the vision of seers. That's a quote of W.E.B. Du Bois from The Talented Tenth. And then the next quote is, you misjudge us because you do not know us, from the same source. And question A, Do you believe the Negro race, like all races, is going to be saved by its exceptional men, as did Dr. Du Bois? Does it make sense to you that Du Bois would hold this belief? What impact do you think this belief has had on the Black community up to the present? And last, who, if anyone, do you see as our current saviors? Well, I'll have to say on that last one, we don't have any. Did we ever?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Um, do I believe we're going to be saved by our exceptional men? No.
No.
No, and not so much. You know, I mean, I think there are. Okay, so we did a quick dive through the questions above in that chapter. But one of the things that I think comes out in that chapter are the class distinctions that go on, like why was Aggie chosen to come out of the fields to do child care? And you know, and you saw how that started some jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
Why was Mamie chosen to come out of the fields? You know, and so you start to see, I think, the beginnings of class distinctions in Black America. And so for me, the question of are our exceptional men going to save us? I say no. One, because, you know, I think that the class distinctions in our community have become so severe. You know, prior to integration, when you still had, you know, Black folks of all classes living in the same community. And Karen was talking a lot about this in our other group on Sunday. But, you know, you still had that that understanding of, you know, the challenges and a willingness to kind of help each other and share and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And I think that integration has just served to keep us so separated that the desire to want to reach back, even if you have, you know, some resources, the desire to want to reach back and pull a field slave out of the field is just, you know, I think we've, for the most part, lost it, which is not to say there aren't some individuals that still have it, but I don't think it's the prevalent thing. The other reason I would say no to that question, exceptional men are not going to save us, is because I just, you know, this whole idea of a savior, I think is just not realistic. I mean, I can understand why Dr. Du Bois would have seen it that way in his era. We've had some saviors come along since then. And, you know, they were easily killed.
Yeah.
Um, and the trauma and devastation of their deaths, instead of motivating us to work harder, try harder, do better, keep moving. I think immobilized us in a lot of ways. But I think it's not this idea that one person or one group of exceptional people even have the capacity. What we're dealing with is so complex. It's so deeply rooted. It's so old in human nature. And I just think, Jesus tried to be a savior.
Didn't he though? And that didn't work out very
What
well.
happened to him? It didn't work very well.
Even if you believe he escaped with his wife to Ethiopia, he still had to
And
live.
even if you believe he had a direct line to God herself.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what I mean. I just think that the idea of a savior is appealing. And maybe a bit infantile. It's understandable. I just don't think it's realistic. So I think that what has to happen, I do think there are collective things that we can do, but I think there's a lot more work that we have to do individually to saving ourselves. So.
Yeah, I do agree with you. And was Dr. Du Bois a bit of a patriarch himself? Because he said, well, the words he used are about men and totally discounting the necessity of those exceptional women, and that you need a partnership, to create and guide a movement along.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so happy with him. I'm not so
Mm-hmm.
happy with him. I think he was, or maybe it was just because of the times he lived in, right? And trying so hard to prove that Black people, Black men especially, can be as good or perhaps better than, the standard that's being held up. Um, hmm. But
Mm-hmm.
you kind of miss out, because what are the rest of the people feeling, right, in your community? Oh, immediately there's a class division, because, oh, you think you're so that, why should I listen to you? You don't care about me down here scrubbing these floors and cleaning this toilet. You think I'm stupid, because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
go to the HBCU that you went to and have all these degrees, or get
Mm-hmm.
invited to these conferences to speak on the condition of Black folks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think sometimes these people can just be too intellectual to be effective. You need to
Right.
be out here among the people and see what's happening, and then have a be able to talk to them on the same level to see what they need, and get them on board to, if you have a plan, or if you're trying to devise a plan, they need to be involved with it. They need to feel empowered to contribute, instead of, oh, we just gonna vote for Obama and he gonna save us, kind of thing. That never
Right.
works, right?
Never
That never
works.
works, because then at some point he's gonna say, I gotta take care of Michelle and these girls.
Right. Right, right,
Right? And Michelle gonna say, that's right.
right.
When they go low, we go high. Cause them bullets ain't no joke. Okay, no.
That's a good one. I hadn't heard that one.
Well, I paraphrased a bit for her.
Well,
Well, look,
pretty accurate.
who was that comedian? I can't remember who it was. It Richard Pryor probably was, who said the first black president gonna be like this, ladies and my fellow Americans at the podium. So,
Yes.
so just surviving, Obama has, he's made a difference.
Right, right. Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
there's got to be another way. But I mean, I do think, Du Bois was a man of his time. So, that's why I'm not mad at him. And, I can understand why he saw it that way, And, and I guess in the context of start of song 4 with the whole minstrel thing, he's still very much, remember, he was born in 1868.
Yeah.
So he's still very much of an era where, women were very much relegated to the moon house.
Right.
And where the women may have recognized the moon house as a source of power. Western patriarchy, not. And so, but you're absolutely right. It's a major, it's a division, it's a rift that the Black community cannot afford to have, more than anybody. We need all of our exceptional people, and we need all of our people to be exceptional, because otherwise you kill the savior, you kill the leader and you kill the movement. Mm-hmm. And, so yeah. So, but I think our boy David, is it David? Yeah. That's interning at the law firm. And I think he's a Morehouse man and all of that. So I think our boy David is on his way to becoming a member of the Talented 10. And yeah, we both agree. We don't see a current savior in the midst. I mean, I think there are a lot of people that are doing good work, and that's as it should be. I'm not looking for a single person to stand out as the savior, because I think that's the pattern that, once that savior has been identified, there's a price on their head.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So the more diffused we are, the better. So, I think there are people out there trying to do good works in all different fields, And as you know, I'm the long-term girl, so I'm not looking for, I'm not expecting any savior to do anything dramatic in my lifetime. It's bigger than that. It's just bigger than that.
Absolutely. You need all of the people, or at least 90%, right, to have some kind of awakening that, hey, I do
Right.
have some power. Now, how much am I going to sacrifice to get, to achieve or get close to these community goals? Because it is a community. And as long as you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it like it's just me and what I need to get, then, you're falling into the same trap,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of being
Mm-hmm.
isolated and all your power taken away.
Right.
Because look at the world stage right now. I mean, if people were like, well, I don't care, what's going on in Ukraine, even though they are almost bombed back to the Stone Age, I think
Mm-hmm.
Putin's going to have to change his plan. So, because the world is getting together, against it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think you just things have to happen for people to recognize, well, hey, yeah, that is wrong. Now, what can I do to mitigate it, or just at least raise my voice against it?
Right.
So,
Right. Right. Yeah. I hope you're right, but he's sure gonna leave a lot of death and destruction in his path. Just so unnecessary.
it is. And what happened to COVID? All of a sudden, that's not a problem.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. We know there are other things going on in the world. Rarely does the media get, focused on a story the way they have on this one.
Yeah.
But that's the racism of it, because it's white people dying. It's white people being turned into refugees.
And I just have to say that if you're only watching American media, you don't get to see that viewpoint. But I watch a lot of other countries, and the newscasters, they actually said it. They weren't American newscasters, they're from other countries, European countries. These people are white and they have blue eyes. You need to care. I mean, she said it. God, this is a real thing.
Yes. Yeah. How they've been saying
2022.
it. Yes.
Like,
Yes.
wow, we're doomed. The planet is doomed.
Yes. 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 And the thing is, I do have compassion for the Ukrainian people.
Yeah, because they're human beings, right? And
Human
somebody's messing with
beings.
them, and they didn't do nothing but try
Yes.
to live their life, right?
Exactly. Exactly. But then you throw this racist shit in there.
I know.
And you make, then we gotta focus on that.
Yes.
But that just shows you they can't help themselves. They are so
It's so
blinded.
it's brainwashing. It's brainwashing, right? Because that's what keeps all this junk going, is the division, the imagined division of people by some little DNA sequences that are random. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah, but now Putin is treating the Ukrainians like Black people normally get treated.
Somebody
How
better run
dare
that
you?
genealogy, okay?
How dare you say you want to live your life in peace and make your own decisions?
He's like, I need that port and I need it now.
Yes. Oh yeah, he's it's been sad. It's been sad to watch it, really, because it's just unnecessary. But I hope you're right. I mean, yeah, the world is. I was listening to a commentator today saying, pretty much what you said, that by the time this is over, Russia's going to be back. Russia's going to be the one back in the Stone Age, right? And, but that it really is going to take them decades to rebuild their economy after the world finishes punishing Russia for Putin's bad.
Yeah. And he's just a dictator. I mean, who forces the parliament to make him president for life? Okay.
Imagine. I mean, we could have Donald Trump. Just think how easily that could have been us.
Yes, it could have. Yes.
We too had a madman with his finger on the nuclear pulse. And so even though, we may want to feel like this is Ukraine's problem, we don't have to care about it. The fact that you got this nuclear threat in the mix, some people are saying, well, Putin threatens to nuke people all the time. He's not going to really do it. But, they were also saying he wasn't going to really go in.
Oh, okay. How's that working out for those people who said, oh, he'll never do that? Look, those people, countries around you, Ukraine are like, wait a minute now.
Right. When you're dealing with a lunatic, you don't know what they might do.
Exactly. And there's always the danger that, they feel like, oh, they've gone so far. Well, hell, F it. We going all the way. I don't care. We're burning drawers. We're still pushing forward. Even if people back home in Russia are like, no, we don't want this.
Right.
I mean, what would have to happen? All the Russian soldiers, they would just lay down their arms or they just go home, something like that and say, dude, we ain't following you no more. Right. I think, something like that might have to happen.
Right. Yeah, well, it could, but I am happy for the Ukrainians that they at least have the fighting spirit,
Yeah.
Because it seems like most of the world just expected them to take a day or two of bombing, and surrender. And so I do admire their fortitude. And that's the other reason that exceptional men are not going to save anybody. Because most people just don't seem to have that kind of courage,
You're right.
They do surrender, because most of us are not trying to risk, getting killed.
Yeah.
Senseless conflict.
Yeah.
So, so that's why it's hard to say whether or not the Russian people or the Russian military are just going to, defy Putin. But, there were some stories in the beginning about them abandoning their tanks on the road and stuff like that. So, because there's such a a family relationship between the two countries. So they don't, the actual soldiers, they don't want to be doing this,
Yeah.
But a dictator's, it maintains his power by demonstrating how ruthless, he can be. And so people have to be so courageous, to stand up to somebody that will kill your mama, your papa, cousin Billy, your baby. What did he just bomb a children's hospital? I mean,
Yeah.
So, I mean, we just to bring it to the American context, saw Mike Pence, they were looking to hang that bastard.
I know. I'm like, oh my God, ain't he on your side?
And he's back to sniffing Donald's balls.
The love of money is a terrible thing, isn't it?
But what hold do you have on these people?
Yes.
Is it fear? Is it greed? Is it insanity?
It's a very I'm going with a special kind of mental illness, because it's actually against your best interest as a human being on the planet. Right? The policies that are adopted, because they're not for you. Therefore, that 1%, that 0.5%, okay, if they can get it there. I'm like, wow, how many times do you need to be lied to finally recognize, okay, if they say politician, you need to go the other way, because that's not anything that's good for you. Okay.
Yeah.
No matter what they say, right? And even when bills are passed that are supposed to be for us, and then in the fine print underneath those, 800 pages, there's some stuff that, wait a minute, I have to pay taxes on it.
Right.
So just some crazy stuff. Like, where y'all getting this money from? Okay. You are really just printing it, right?
Exactly.
Because all of a sudden we got billions of dollars.
Exactly.
To send some arms over someplace, but none for Head Start.
Right.
And canceling student debt. None for that.
Right.
Okay.
None for that. No, exceptional men will not be saving anybody.
No.
Let's look at question 17. Okay. Which is where I sat at the other end of the table and this is now into the next chapter, Other Man Magic. I sat at the other end of the table and produced most obnoxious behavior. I rolled my eyes and sighed loudly at intervals. When I went in the kitchen to help my mother with dessert, she told me, "Stop being so rude. Chris was good looking and his father was a doctor. I could do worse." And see how he thanked her for the wonderful meal. What is going on with Belle, and what do you think about it? And how significant are nudges from adults in courting rituals?
Well, Chris laid some of that brother man magic on Mama, didn't
he? Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
when he told Ailey, "Don't worry about your mother. I know how to handle her." I'm like, "Oh God, no!" What's about to happen?
Yes, he did.
He was suave. He was Chris Suave. That's what happened. Oh my goodness! But Belle is looking. Chris passed the test. He passed all the tests, right? Clean, going to a respectable school. He can drive. His parents they passed the test too. And I think he kind of reminds Belle of her husband, right? Of Ailey's father. So she's looking for that match. Yeah, yeah. And she did say it. I want some grandbabies, right? But
Uh-huh.
so hmm. But she's only looking at what Chris presents, which yeah, so she's totally missing the game that Ailey and Chris are playing on her,
Right. Right. Yeah, she's missing the game, and I would say she's looking at, the superficial things that Chris presents, which is how people do, but because we know, more of the backstory on Chris than Belle does, but he's not a good lover. Which I would have thought he would have been smoother since he had the experience with Amber.
I know, right? I'm like, man, dude, you talk a good game, but you ain't about nothing. He ain't about it, is he?
But he cheated on Amber with Ailey.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's just he let the white boys call him nigger.
There was that. Chris trying to get along in a world that's against him. He's trying to make it and have a good time along the way. He trying to survive.
Belle doesn't know any of that at this stage of the game.
Right.
So I guess I won't be too harsh on her. But that's just it. That's just it. That I think that we look so much at these superficial things, and then the real things that I would say matter, the real character, the real substance of a person doesn't get even seen. This is a boy that's going to mislead Ailey about their college plans. He just, he does. He passes all the tests. He looks good. He's got good table manners.
Yeah. Nana was pleased with that. Oh,
even Nana was pleased.
No, he's shaking all his cutlery.
Right. But from a character perspective, he's a low-class dude.
Well, he's just a guy. He's a young guy guided by his hormones, right? Doesn't matter what school he's going to. It'd be the same wherever he was at, because at that age, yeah, those hormones have ruined everything. Because look at Ailey. She's like, I'm about to burst. Get me down to Planned Parenthood.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, I'm a David fan.
He was nice. And you can see that Ailey misses him, right? He was gentle. Chris, you don't even know how to caress my breast.
Yeah.
Like, what was he doing? And he was trying to milk a cow. Oh my God.
David protected her when his friend wanted to pull a train on her.
Yeah.
He just seems like like he's got a better character to me.
Yeah, he was raised well, I think, to respect women. And I'm not sure Chris does. I mean, I think he sees them as objects, right?
Oh
To
yeah, and
satisfy needs.
Chris's dad is not around that much,
Yeah, yeah.
because he's working all the time.
Mhm. So
So
probably getting
yeah,
his information from other guys and some
right,
magazines.
right, right, right. Not good sources, fellas.
No, I wonder if because David, he's at in college and he's in a dorm room with a couple, well, room, an apartment with some other guys. If Ailey and he are eventually going to get together down the line, I'm holding out hope for that.
I think they are. I think they are. At first, I thought Chris was going to be the love of her life. But I think after that little incident he pulled um, not of making his own plans to go to Princeton,
Yeah, he could have been honest.
he could have been honest
Chose
about
not
that.
to. Mhm.
Right. But he chose, and then he had to hit it one more time, right? Before he fessed up. That's what I'm saying. Chris is just, he's not worthy.
No. Oh my God. Poor Ailey. That 77 seconds was not worth it.
Right.
Was she looking at
Right.
a watch? No, I don't know.
Right. So, so I think that David is going to turn out to be the one, you know. I hope so too. I sure hope. I hope we've seen the end of Chris. I'm done with him.
Yeah, he was just a high school fling.
Yes.
He was safe enough.
Yes. 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 David, it may not work out with David, but I hope she finds somebody like David.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Um. Okay.
Okay.
One more highlighted one. Let's try to do that one. Number 20. You want to read it, Gio?
Sure. Okay. Ailey receives an acceptance letter from Routledge. She interprets the rules as sexist. Jeff and Belle recall their differing experiences at this traditional school. Ailey declares herself an atheist, but Belle disagrees. When I looked to my father, he shook his head so slightly I almost missed it. It was a marital pact, his pretending a devout religious belief, and my mother pretending he wasn't a fraud. Question A. Are there Black atheists? B. What value, if any, is there in going to church if you don't believe in religion? And C. What thoughts do you have about this marital pact? And D. Did everyone in your family attend church when they were growing up?
You know they did in mine.
Okay. Well, when mom was in the church going mood and you were home and you weren't working, you was going to church. But then there were oftentimes she would just get us in the basement and she would have church there. So you weren't escaping when she felt like church.
Wow.
And on C, what thoughts do I have about that religious marital pact? Well, that's peaceful, isn't it? That's how couples do when they want to get along. You don't want to be, well, Jeff, you need to go to church. You ain't been to church. The church lady's talking about me. Like, They never see my husband, blah, blah, blah. But
Uh-huh.
they've agreed that, yeah, we're gonna, this is the face we're going to wear because it's the acceptable face, right? The respectable face. But
Uh-huh.
that pillow talk is, yeah, did you hear what so and so said? Oh, that old fool. We know he be running around,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
all kind of stuff. But yeah, and then of course there are black atheists, and it was so interesting. Her mother's statement: "There are no black atheists." Well, I can see. Well, maybe encompassing the aspect of spiritualism and believing in a creator, right? A higher creator. Okay, but as far as just that Western theology, oh yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure there are plenty.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, but I guess back now, this is like the 1980s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I would think after the 60s, more Black people were open about their atheism.
Mm.
But this is also, kind of the South, it's DC, but, that's almost the South.
Yeah, it is. You just get pulled over by a trooper, you find out.
So, maybe in the 80s, it was still unusual for a Black person to openly say they didn't believe in God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know. But I think this particular storyline is another example of the kind of changing generational dynamics going on in the story, like we saw with who was it, Coco, with her haircut and, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think this is Ailey starting to go through that kind of, another generation more deal with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Right. That independent thinking.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
then
she's
the
grown up, right? She's grown up.
16, and then the church thing. I mean, you're right. It's, a peaceful arrangement for the home, that marital pact. I just, have never understood why people go to church when they really don't believe in whatever the religion may be. And so you see it in their hypocritical behavior. And I mean, I think, there are non-religious benefits of going to church. Some people go to church to meet a husband.
Mm-hmm.
Some people go to church to make business connections, or for other aspects of their social life. It can be a good environment, good experiences for children, ways to express your talents, you know. I think there are all of these, kind of other reasons than I believe in the religion. I just don't understand why the Black community seems to need that religious veneer in order to create the kind of community, where you have a place where you can express your talents and make business deals and find a husband. Why you have to layer it
Well,
with this religious stuff if people are not really buying it.
yes, it's a conundrum, isn't it? Because it's really, it's just a social club. It depends it depends on which denomination you belong to, because if you Jehovah Witnesses, that's your whole life. You there all week long.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, people are always looking to fill an empty space within themselves. And so they take part in different activities they think will fill that space without dealing with, well, what is that empty space? And why is it there? And what other things might I do to fill it? Because then that probably is what leads them to those hypocritical activities. Because outside they're smiling, they memorize the Bible, all the books back and forward, Sunday school, but they go home and beat the wife and kick the dog, and or just they're all the things that in the book that they ascribe to says these are the bad things you shouldn't be doing, or you don't belong to me, right? But human nature is something else. If you are depending on a book or someone else to police you, you haven't dealt with your own nature, and understanding, well, how do human beings work? And then even, well, why are we here? Because it doesn't really answer the question, why are we here and what are we doing? And then why have all these bad things happened to us? Oh, it's God's will. Don't you just hate that when, like, if you have someone pass away, right? And they say, well, God just decided to take him. Really?
Right.
Well, I ain't dealing with him no more. Okay.
Right. I used to think, God is a pretty mean dude.
Right. Who is this schizophrenic being who on one hand loves you so much, and then on the other, he gonna smite everybody, even their cows. Right? You all kill them all.
Right, because you made a mistake.
Wow. I'm like, wow, who are these things?
Yeah.
Well, the more the more stuff I read and watch, the more I really believe that the beings in the Bible and those in the Apocrypha, those missing books, are actually descriptions of somebody else.
Oh yeah? Tell us more.
Well, okay. Well, you guys know, I'm a yeah, I believe in extraterrestrials. And there's just so much architectural evidence. Now, how can you go deeper, dig deeper in the earth? And the architectural skill and precision is so much better than what's on top, what the layers on top. So, so much history is hidden from us. Um, and how the religious books are written, they don't make a lot of sense. There's not a lot of continuity. So some things are missing. Well, why did somebody decide, oh, they can't know this part, right? Why did Christianity fold paganism into them so they could keep, the coffers full? And we need to keep everybody happy. So you have a Western saint who is mirrored in a pagan saint to keep everybody happy. So what's the truth? What's the truth?
Mhm.
But back to who I think these people are beings who, came here and they had some power and they saw some resources like we do. We're going to use this. And how do we get everybody on our side? They think we're gods. Okay, cargo cult it is. So that's what I think happened.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
really, that would explain why the God described in our Bible is so schizophrenic. And, you know,
Mhm.
even the descriptions so in of gods in, let's say, Buddhism or Indian religions, they actually accept that, these guys, yeah, they came from off planet. They don't say that was the creator because they have
Mhm.
many gods, because probably there were many beings. And there's evidence of some nuclear activity quite a few thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago on the planet. So who had nuclear capability? Yeah, and I mean, well, okay, I'm going off topic, but so much stuff is going on in the sky, right? And then they're just trying to get this UFO, this disclosure out, eke it out, and then they drop some CIA documents. No, no, you can't read it. It's all redacted. Why? Okay.
Mhm.
There's obviously information out there that could free us from these bounds of these religious bonds of illusion, because that's what I just think it's a way to control a populace, right? If you get them to believe that if you follow these rules, I will take care of you because I gave you life and I'm gonna take care of, but you got to follow my rules now. You got them, right? And if you
Mhm.
can show a little,
Mhm.
magical power, because science looks like magic to people who don't know what it is, right? Same thing.
Mhm.
So they will follow along because, uh Mohammed over there got electrocuted, but he was fried because we don't know about this. He was fried and his goat. Oh, okay, we're gonna do what you say. You got any more of them chapters? Hey, Baba, hand me a rug. No, I don't mean to I'm not making fun, but if you look at it from a different perspective, which I think is what you have to do when you're so in it, right? And that's part of the problem, is being when you're in it, you can't see the whole structure of it. And
Mhm.
if the benefits of religion were effective and persistent, why are we always killing each other? Why are we always taking things from? Why can't we take care of our planet where we live? We don't even care. Oh, God will take care of. We're gonna pray for the dolphins. No, they need you to stop them from those cruise ships from dumping toxic waste in their pathway where they're
Right.
trying to live. I know,
Right.
just simple things that,
Mhm. Mhm.
if you take agency, right? And to discover, well, I know this book says I got here this way. We all got here this way. But where's the proof? I'm just believing on faith that these are the words
Mhm.
that are true. The story that's been
Mhm.
told is true. Even though that story strangely mirrors some other stories of
Mhm.
with characters of different names in another culture that has nothing to do with what's in this book. So
Mhm.
it's a lot of repetition of, I
Mhm.
think, a control mechanism that human beings are under. Uh, and yes, I believe there's life on other planets. They might be under having the same problem. It might be actually a real Star Wars drama going on above our heads, but we're concerned or misdirected by COVID and Trump, the hangovers of Trump, and now Putin flexing his muscles. We don't
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
time to delve into where the truths might lay, and if
Mhm.
we saw them, would we recognize them and accept them, or would it be too much? Like the
Mhm.
Brookings Institute said about We can't tell them about aliens. They'll go crazy. It'll be mass chaos. Then no, we won't get them to do anything. They'll be doing whatever they want. I mean, when you have a think tank say that, okay, you know it's some stuff we need to be looking into. You know, people, they're lying to us. They're lying to us. And we need to figure that out, right? And figure out how to accept the truth when we do finally find it. So, yeah, I said all that. Now I'm off my soapbox.
I'm glad you did. It actually made a lot of sense to me, Gio.
Okay,
I think there's more that we don't know than we do know,
Yeah.
And that's why religion, just kind of rubs me the wrong way, because it strikes me as very limited human beings pretending like they have answers to things that they clearly don't understand. They clearly, and I understand why the mystery of life makes us want to search for answers. I think we're supposed to search, but it concerns me when we land on something and decide this is the truth for all time, for all people.
Yes.
Because there's just so much, as you say, there are universes and multiverses and all kind of stuff out there that we really know next to nothing about.
Yes.
So how is it that we could possibly have all the answers? It offends my sense of logic.
Well, you smell a rat. That's what you do.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
And I tell you another thing that gives me great pause is this rush to the metaverse. Why do you want to enclose my mind even further in a fantasy? What are you trying to do while the rest of my body is outside in the environment? That is very worrisome to me.
Yeah. So thank you. That gives us, that's a beautiful note to end on, Gio. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Hopefully I won't have nightmares about the aliens coming for
me. Here's a tip. Don't go into the light.
Don't go, okay.
Oh my God.
I'm not doing it, and I'm not taking any rides on anybody's spaceship.
Right.
My little ignorance.
Oh yeah. No, Michelle, don't you message me and say, Georgette, there was a light outside my window. And I said
I know. Oh my God. There's an episode of Frasier that's like that. And where Frasier is supporting this political candidate. And as he's about to do a commercial for the candidate, he has a private conversation with him. And the candidate confesses to Frasier, the psychiatrist, that he's been on a spaceship. And so now Frasier is like,
what am I going to do with this information? No.
So the story ends up, the politician ends up being exposed. Frasier accidentally outed him. And so now the news is all over it and everything. And then Frasier is out out on his porch,
Mhm.
and he looks up and there's a light pointing in his apartment. But it's Chopper Dave.
Oh. He was scared for a minute, right?
Scared.
He thought that dude told aliens.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
So as
funny.
curious as I am, there are some things I'm just like, I don't need to know all that. But I mean, human, when you were talking about, the archaeology below the surface, the earth, without going to space, the earth is a source of so much hidden knowledge, we book writing is about 5,000 years old, but the archaeology and, all of those sciences together tell us that human life has been on the planet at least 100,000 years with other types of humans walking around. And we don't really know what happened to them. Yeah. But we're the killer species that survives.
Well, unless you believe in Bigfoot, no.
But I mean, so, in my other book, the chapter we're on is talking about how trauma clouds the memory. So, I'm just saying, I just think there's stuff so deep in human DNA, ugly, dirty, nasty shit that we've done, and we don't want to remember. But even if it's not horrible things, it's there's just a lot. There's just a lot that's not on the surface from any perspective. And that image of the iceberg in water, and there's like a little tip of the iceberg above the water, and then below the water it's this huge, huge thing. Like that. Like, whatever we have pieced together and fantasized about and made up in these 5,000 years of writing, there's, tens and tens of thousands, of other years that we just don't even begin to have a clue.
Yeah.
So, God is a good story. But aliens is a good story too.
Why not? Why not?
Why not? Can't disprove it. You can't prove and disprove any of it.
That's right.
So, so that's why for me, it's just like, okay, I have to accept there's just more that we don't know than we do. And that it's in our nature to keep looking for answers. So maybe one day.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we will really live in a truth that is clear to everyone.
Yeah. Well, we have
All
to
right,
keep
my
hope alive.
friend. Keep hope alive. All right. All right. So are we on next week? What's the
Oh, let's see.
plan for next week? Let me check that. I closed all of my files. Let me see. Open a different one. Schedule 2. Oh man. Today is March 9th. So yeah, we're here next week. With 3 chapters. We sing your praises high. Liberty, equality, fraternity, God damn it. And in this spirit. And then we have a break the following week on March 23rd.
Okay.
Okay. So you have a good week, Gio.
Thank you.
And when you come into the Sunday group?
I don't know. I sort of had it planned this Sunday, but I woke up at 2:00. I'm like, okay, I missed it. No. I'm still trying to make it.
Okay. Well, you have a good week, and we will see you next week reading our story together.
Indeed. Take care now.